Hey Angelique, and welcome to the office. It is so good to have you here. I'm just kidding, everyone. Angelique lives in this office. She's here all the time. We are working on a lot of projects all the time, so this is not a new place for her.
Nope. This is home.
This is home, and it's a fun home. But we are here to talk to you guys about illustrations, and I just want to introduce Angelique and kind of tell you guys how we met, because we were at this teeny tiny little Christmas bazaar actually, and I was selling books and Angelique was selling artwork, and we were both eyeballing each other's booths, and then finally, I think actually you came over to my booth.
I did.
Yeah, you did. We ended up talking. You were the brave one, and it was so fateful, you guys. I was actually hiring for my kids book, Macho, at like that very moment. It was crazy. And I was like, have you ever thought about doing a kids book? And she was like,
sign me up. I know where this is going.
Yeah, and so she's like, I want to do a kids book my whole life.
Yeah.
So we ended up working on Macho and the Great Dragon Escape. It took us like 6 months, I think, to put that together. It was a long time.
It was a long process.
So we have worked together a lot. And at the time, we were doing color pencil art only, and I really wanted digital. And she was like, give me a week and I'll go home and learn it. So she learned to do digital art, which is just like with a digital paintbrush on a computer. And she painted an entire children's book. It's 28 pages. We worked together quite a bit, and now we work out together, and she kicks my butt and all of that. But it started with Macho and the Great Dragon Escape, when she just went and learned how to do digital art, which was super cool. So that is Angelique, and I'm just gonna kind of ask you questions as though I have not worked with you and don't know the process. So could you tell everybody, what is the process of working with you on something like a cover or a kid's book? What does that look like?
Yeah, so if you wanted to work with me for either, one of those things, what I really try to get down is what the author has in mind for their cover. Like, what is the style that they want, first of all? Do they want it in digital or colored pencil? So like what medium? That's obviously really important. And then also just like kind of almost like the vibe that the author wants to give off through the cover, because the cover is like the first thing that someone sees when they're looking at a book. So it is really important, of course. And so I really try to ask a lot of questions. I think that's really important as an illustrator, is to really ask a lot of questions in order to get that kind of style down, so that you can really try to incorporate that into the drawing that you produce for them. So it's a lot of talking back and forth at first, getting to know like the story, getting to know the main characters, things like that. All of like the little details that you really wouldn't think that is really that necessary to know as the illustrator. But even like really tiny little details are really, really important. So it's really important to get all those things down. And then so once I have a good idea of all those things, then I can get started on some of the sketches. And so then we go back and forth talking even more about what like if it's a children's book, for example, there's a lot of sketches, obviously, because you have to sketch out every single
We do a lot of sketches.
So it's a lot of sketches. I love it, but it is a lot of sketches.
I'm also probably one of your more demanding clients. I'll be honest, guys. I'm like
a little bit, yeah.
I'm like, this is exactly what I want. But I'm very detailed. I'm very, very detailed.
Yeah, well, that is so important. Like it's frustrating when you're working with somebody who doesn't give you a lot of detail, and then you just kind of have to kind of make it up on your own, which sounds nice, but it's actually not, because they're hiring you to do a job. So like you want to please them, right? Like they are paying you. So we do sketches for every single page. And then if it's for a cover, then I do like a few sample sketches for what that cover would look like, that I think the author might like. And then once they decide on a sketch that they think they like best, then I do more of like an official sketch of that one. And that one, it turns out it's going to be like the exact image of how the cover is going to look, but just the outline. So no color or anything, just the outline. And then once that's approved by the author, then I go ahead and start working on that. And it's really the same thing for the children's book pages too. Like once you send a sketch, and then, do like little revisions here and there between you and the author. And then once it's approved, you get started on the final one.
So one thing that I had come up once was, and this is one of the reasons, you guys, that I love this whole Tally Ink idea of referring you to people who I have worked with and who I trust and who I know will hit deadlines, is that when you try to work with people you've never met and who have not been referred to you, you run into a lot of problems. And one of the ones that I had once upon a time was I had agreed on a price with a guy. And you know, I do pay artists fairly well, I will tell you guys that. But I had agreed on a price with a guy, and then he tried to tell me that he was going to charge me extra for doing sketches. So is that normal? Would you ever charge extra to do a sketch for anybody?
No.
Is that just part of the process, Angelique?
Yes, believe it or not, it actually is. Yeah, no, that should not happen. You do not fall into that trap of just like, you can tell, like your intuition will tell you that like a sketch takes like 5 minutes, if that, you know, like it shouldn't be a lot of detail. It shouldn't be really elaborate unless it's the final sketch. That's kind of like a different thing. And that's more so what happens like with the cover. But even like the sketch for a children's book too. But anyways, yeah, don't pay for that. They take the artist no time at all. So that's not normal.
And that really is something, is that if your intuition is telling you like, I don't know about working with this person, like trust it, you guys. Like you should have the best feeling about the artist that you are working with. And so like that is one of the reasons that I want to have people to refer out, is because like I always know that you're on top of it, and like if we're not getting it right on the first sketch, we do them again. And kind of like I mentioned, especially with my book covers, I send like a 5 to 10 page PDF of, okay, this is what I want. You guys have seen my covers, you know, it's people, like faces and stuff, but it's like, this is what the expression is gonna look like, this is what the hair color looks like, the hairstyle, the eyes, the face, the body, the dress, the background, and it's like, I find all of these comparable pictures, and I kind of just point and I go, those eyes, that nose, this mouth, which turns into 10 pages, and nobody is quite as crazy as I am about that, but
it's so nice though. I mean, you say it's crazy, but it's actually really, really nice for the illustrator, because like as I'm reading this like 5 to 10 page PDF, like I love what I do. Like I don't even mind reading that, to be quite honest. Like I reference to that so much while I'm doing the illustration, so much. But what I was gonna say too is that like while I'm reading through that, I end up like generating this image in my mind of what I can picture the cover being like, and what I think the author might want it to look like. It actually ends up occurring in my mind, which doesn't really happen if I don't have those details. That's why those tiny little details, like what the eyes look like are they wide set, are they close set, like even specific little details that makes a person look the way that they do. Like, do they have a really big mouth? Do they have a really small mouth? Little things like that, if it is like a thing that's part of your character, is really important to know. And so that's why little details like that are so important, and it's why it is nice to have a big long PDF, because you need to know details. You just do.
You do, and sometimes it's really cool too with those sketches. You know, as an author, I assume most of us are not super great at, you know, visual arts. I personally am not. So it's really amazing when you see that first sketch of your character and you can pinpoint and say, wow, like those are the right eyes, but there's something with that mouth that's just not quite right. It's really cool to see it sketched out for the first time and then be able to work with it a little bit before that final draft is done. So that is all super cool. And I really would love for you to tell people about kind of the difference between digital art and colored pencil, and just tell them all about it. How does that all work?
Oh, there's so much. There's so many differences between the two. I will say, I think digital art is, in my opinion, maybe a little bit easier than like colored pencils, because with traditional art, like fine art, you don't really get a second chance unless it's pencil, which you can erase, but you can't really erase colored pencil or marker or basically anything else. So you have to really, really take your time, like with each little detail. And you still do with digital, of course, you know, it still has to be very detailed, but you can erase, and you're able to go through the motions like a little bit faster, I find, because you do have the option of like changing shapes and just being a lot more creative with what you can do with digital, which is like a really big benefit, I think. Which, yeah, the children's book I did for Haley was the first digital piece that I ever did, and so it was like a huge learning experience for me. It was also really fun at the same time, of course. So yeah, I think there's a lot of differences, but it just kind of depends on the style that you're looking for and the style that the author is looking for as well. If they want kind of a more, I don't want to say modern style, but maybe a more almost like kid-friendly, maybe, it's hard to explain exactly.
Brighter colors.
It's very vivid. Digital is. It's very, very vivid.
Well, why don't we show them? Because I know, okay, spoiler guys, we are working on the sequel to Macho right now.
Yes.
And she's made this page that is like, oh, it's so beautiful. I've also had a crush on the character in there for like, I don't even know how many years. So maybe I just really love it. But let's show this to them. Yeah, so you can hold it up too. But we'll also like put this on the screen so that they can see it. But look at this, you guys. Oh my gosh. So like, this whole book is going to be out in the snow. It's gorgeous. And it's so much of what matters is like capturing the lighting effects and like making people who look real and also very handsome, and then making animals who look real but are also very cute. Like there is so much that goes into it. And we are super excited about the second Macho book. But you kind of see like how digital looks. And now let's show them kind of those colored pencils too, so they can see the difference. So this is digital.
So that's digital. And then this is like a colored pencil drawing that I did recently. Just finished like last week.
I'm like blown away by that. It's so good.
There's almost like a whimsical look, I think, to colored pencils, because it is such a fine tip, obviously, so you can just get so much little precise detail, which again, you can with digital too, but the look of like the pencil lines, that look that kind of it creates, it's different than digital. It looks almost more like sleek or like chic. I don't even know the right word.
Let's show them a couple of the other ones too. I mean, they're just so beautiful. These are like the actual original pieces, guys. They're in my office. They are just phenomenal. So she does people, she does animals, she does like whatever you guys need. It's incredible. And I have to grab, like, let me show you guys something, because I want to grab this to show you. So like, on my book covers, one of the really important things, because this is my first book, so this was not done by Angelique, but it was really important to me that we match this style. You know, it had to be like a dark background, and it had to be digital and look kind of, you know, like the same. And they look like they're done by the same artist. I mean, it's incredible how she can match whatever it is that you want to match. So if you send her kind of some inspiration pictures and say, this is the style that I really want, can you match it? The answer is probably yes.
Oh yeah, anything can be done pretty much, as long as, you know, I have a good idea of what you want, then we can usually figure something out.
Yeah, it's just so cool. So, you know, whatever you guys are looking for, if it's the colored pencil or if it's digital, she's got you covered there. How long does this take to do? How long does it take to make the cover once I send you kind of my 5 to 10 page PDF?
Yeah.
How long are we looking at?
So once there's a lot of communication that goes even just like before starting the final product, with like the revisions of the sketches and the sketches themselves and all those things. So once I start the actual final product, it usually takes maybe like, it varies so much depending on the detail in the picture. If it's like fine art, like a traditional art piece with colored pencils, for example, it varies a lot on the size of the piece. It varies a lot on the detail, like I said. And if it's digital, then the time that it takes varies a little bit less, but I would say maybe like up to a month, like depending on the detail and everything. But it could take as little as 2 weeks as well. It just, it varies quite a bit.
Is that the same with the cost? Does it kind of vary based on the level of detail?
Yeah, it varies a lot with the cost as well for the exact same reason. It really just comes down to the detail.
Yeah, and then you're able to do like, you know, the front and the back cover too. So there's a lot of things that you can play with. You also, I know, are doing like some character portraits as well for people who want portraits of their characters in their books. What all do you cover?
I can do whatever you want, to be honest. I can do portraits of your characters. I can do the back cover, the front cover, basically anything that you want. I can do cover designs for like bookmarks, for example. I can do designs for like prints, if that's something that you're wanting for like to sell with your book is like art prints, then I can do specific art prints. Anything, really.
Yeah.
Anything.
Sky is the limit. That's what's so cool about being creative, right?
Yeah. I love that aspect of it, because you really can create like anything.
So I'm really curious to know, actually, like, when you just went home and learned digital art in a weekend, because that was what I wanted, how difficult was that, like learning to go from colored pencil to digital?
Yeah, from my personal experience, because I have the background of doing color pencil art for years and years and years. I've been doing this for as long as I can remember, basically. I've been doing it professionally since I was about 16. So because I had that background, I think it was really easy for me to get started with it. I think if you're getting started with it with a base of art and like how to draw things just kind of in general, it is really easy to pick up on it, because all you have to learn then is how to use the program that you're using, basically, and how to do like things like the layers and all those little things that come with digital art. That's what you have to end up learning. But I think because I had the basis of the color pencils for so long, that really helped me create like realistic drawings to start off with.
Yeah, and it's just so cool. I mean, I just want to hold this up one more time, because like one of the most important parts of any cover of your book is that it should be able to capture emotion, right? It should be able to draw the reader in, and like something like this that is so real but also interesting, you know? It's not just a face, there is some sort of intrigue there. And I think that that's what's so amazing about what you're able to do, is that you can create those covers that draw people in, that have the emotion that the author is trying to portray. I mean, I know for sure, like when we were doing Prince Avalask, I was like, I want the baby to have this expression, and I want him to have this expression. And also she had to create a monster. He's not even human. Like she had so many like things that she had to accomplish on here. And then the back cover was just as gorgeous, with like this badass woman, and that was like the main criteria, was she needed to be a badass, and she sure is. Look at that. Like it just turned out so cool. And that's how you draw the readers in. So it's such an important skill to have. And then I love that you have it, and you have it in literally multiple mediums, that you can do the colored pencil, which would be, I would love to see you do a romance cover. Somebody please hire me for a romance cover.
That would be amazing. If anyone wants to hire me for that, I'll say yes right off the bat.
I would just love to see that in colored pencil. It'd be so pretty.
That'd be amazing.
But the digital, the colors in digital are just so vivid. They're so fun for kids' books. They're really fun for the fantasy covers. So it's really cool. And yeah, I mean, do you have any parting words for the authors who may be working with you?
I don't know. I think I know I said this already, but it really is just so important to like not be afraid to tell your illustrator, whoever that you hire, exactly what you want, and don't be afraid to send like a lot of details. I know we said that already, but it really is just so important as the illustrator, because I really am trying to get a perfect idea, or close to perfect idea of what the person wants. So it's very important to not be shy with those kinds of things. Like don't be shy with what you want, say exactly what you want, and just be upfront. That's the easiest way to work with somebody, and that's how things end up going really smoothly too along the road of working with somebody, so that you're not just kind of like beating around the bush with certain things, and it's just a lot easier on both ends. So yeah.
So don't be afraid to send your artists 10-page PDFs like I do.
Because if the illustrator wants to get it right, they're gonna want that. They're gonna want that major detail, because that is really important, like you said, for getting things like expressions right. That's not easy to do when you're coming up with images from mind, so you need those tiny details. And
it's nice to have them to reference too, right? Like when I send you the pictures of like this expression and like these eyebrows, whatever it is I do.
Well, that's another thing too, is that like if you have like a bunch of images that you kind of want put together into like one image, that's what I do a lot of the time, like with commissions and stuff, is just putting multiple images together. And don't be afraid to send pictures like that as well, because it really is, again, just so helpful. It gives me a better idea of what to do. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming.
And thank you.
I'm super excited for you guys to work with Angelique. Now, just remember, you can click below. So if you want to contact her, that is how you get a hold of her. And you guys can work out, if she's going to be the right fit for you, which she probably is. Like, she can do just about anything.
I'll try my best.
Let me just tell you, it is hard to find artists who can hit deadlines. So that's why I'm referring her to you. And she does such an awesome job. So thanks for coming in. I'm really excited for you to be working with everybody.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this opportunity. And I can't wait to work with anybody who chooses to work with me. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.